Hello, good people of St. Martin, and welcome to the Integrity Chamber's video series, Integrity in Voting. I'm your host, Kevin James, and today we're going to discuss the effects of the electoral process on the education sector. To give us some more insight into this subject matter, I have with us here today Miss Edna Evans. Miss Evans, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, I'm a mother of an amazing 10-year-old, and I also am in the hospitality industry. I am the director of Belair Beach Hotel, and I also teach at the University of St. Martin, among other things.
All right, so a good perspective on the impact of education on our future.
Oh, definitely.
All right. So the first question I'd like to ask you is, why do you think voting is important?
Well, I mean, if you think about the future, and if you think about the importance of the future, why do we work? Why do we live? Why do we do what we do? We're constantly planning for the future. And so in order for us to be able to have a good direction, in order for us to be able to have the possibility of having a productive and strong future, we need to have good leaders. We need to have strong leaders. And so if you don't have the right people to lead you, then clearly you're not going to be led right. They say that, if you have no vision or where there is no vision, the people perish. And I think that you don't need more than that to establish the reason why voting is so important. You're putting people that will be helping you to achieve your goals, your family's goals, putting that generational wealth out there, ensuring that even now you're doing well, that you are well paid, that you're well taken care of, that your medical is okay and taken care of, that your pension is taken care of. It's the future. It's your future. It's your present. It's what's going to ensure that you have continuity. You have a good life. Your family has a good life.
Thank you for that answer. That leads to the next question I'd like to ask you. What should be the priorities of government for the education sector?
Well, first of all, where we are right now in education, it needs to be reevaluated. We have to understand that the world is changing. Our educational system is not. The priorities of our educators, the priorities of our children, the curriculums, they need to be up to date in order to be able to facilitate the needs that we have. That's one of the reasons why certain countries are able to be a few steps ahead. I don't need to call the countries' names, because they don't just sit back and go with the flow. It works. No, they're innovative, they're creative, they think about what the future will hold, and they plan their curriculums accordingly. An example, my son was asked, what profession do you want to, what do you want to do? What profession do you want to engage in when you grow older? My son is 10. Maybe the profession that he wants to engage in doesn't even exist. A few years ago, if someone said that they wanted to be a blogger or a social media influencer, you would look at them and tell them to get a real job. These people now make millions. So I think that we need to revamp our education, or at least assess our educational situation, and not just, I noticed that there was a procurement for the FBE program, not just that, but the entire program, from the time that the child goes into daycare straight up until tertiary education. Where do we see ourselves going as an island? Where do we see our educational system assisting us with where we would like to go to? We really need to focus on that.
So the next question I have for you is, what are the effects of frequent elections and changes in leadership on the education sector?
That's a good question. And maybe not everyone might agree with me on this, but when you have a minister of education in office, he has a cabinet. He has people that are there throughout, minister after minister after minister. And there are agendas that one minister would have, that another minister wouldn't have, and that another minister wouldn't have. And maybe in each one of those agendas, there are important points that need to be addressed. But because another minister comes in, there is no continuity to that. And I think that we miss the memo. It's not about fulfilling that minister's agenda, but it's about doing what is best for our educational system. And again, I'm going to bring it right back to that first question. If you really and honestly and earnestly want to give back to St. Martin, do the right thing. Go out and vote for someone that is going to do that. It's our responsibility as citizens to ensure that we have people in place, whether it's education, whether it's tax reform, whether it's ensuring that we have a holistic approach, because if you deal with one sector and you don't deal with the next, that sector suffers also.
Indeed.
Whoever it is, do the research. We're in 2023, right? We have enough information out there. Do the research from now. Many series on Netflix, Prime Video, shut it off for a minute. Go and scroll through those campaign pages and see who's running. Let your conscience be your guide. Is this someone that you would want to manage your finances for you in the bank? Would you give them the authority to assign your money to be able to withdraw, to purchase items? If your answer is no, move on to the next person. Because that's what we're doing. We are every month paying taxes, or every quincena paying taxes. If you do a little overtime, it goes into taxes and we vex. But we're paying those people. And so if we're putting money into their pockets, especially into the budget of education, then we should be thinking, okay, we need to see a good return on our investments. And so it's important that we not only have the right people in power, but that we choose the right people in power. And that power is in our hands.
In our hands.
We're either part of the solution or we're part of the problem. Pick a side. But whatever side you pick, you're going to be held accountable for that.
Well, Ms. Evans, very good ideas. Thank you so much for taking the time to share with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being here. And I do hope that our viewing audience or listening audience can also appreciate the importance of their vote. Go out and vote, not just for today, but for the continuity of your future and the future of our community, of course, the future of St. Martin. Your vote counts.
Well, you heard it from her. And to the people of St. Martin, we hope this conversation was beneficial to you, and thank you for supporting us on our mission to build integrity for future generations. Stay tuned for the next video in our series, Integrity in Voting.